taking center stage today. It is not often that journalists celebrate their own, dead or alive, but late mentors and promoters in the journalism world were honored in an event specially organized to do so. Late ace broadcaster Ben Igbuna, a former fellow Guild of Editors, was among many who were paid tribute to at an event, an afternoon of tributes honoring the dead, inspiring the living, where Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was also present and said their exit has created a significant vacuum because they lived a remarkable and outstanding life.
This gathering serves a threefold purpose. It is at once a celebration of their lives and the illustrious tradition to which they belonged, a reflection on their legacies, and an affirmation of the great values for which they stood. In the illiberal and hostile climate of the 1980s and the 1990s, many journalists took to the front lines of civil society struggle against tyranny. And they did so at great risk to their personal well-being and safety. And they used their publications to advocate democracy. Many of you in this room and your absent colleagues are veterans of that period and paid the price of voluntary deprivation, imprisonment, exile, and in some cases, the ultimate price. These are sacrifices that should never be forgotten. Today, we too must embrace all of those quests that are before us to make common cause with progressive nation builders across all divides to take ownership of our country and build a sustainable future for our children.
The event drew attention to an important branch of knowledge which should actively develop into studying the life and times of media leaders who have contributed immensely to the media and national development. The Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timipre Silva, says it has become necessary to assure Nigerians that despite the huge burden of under-recovery, the federal government is not in a hurry to increase the price of premium motor spirit petrol to reflect current market realities. In a statement, the minister said the current price of petrol will be retained in the month of June until the ongoing engagement with organized labor is concluded. This clarification becomes necessary in the light of recent reports regarding the resolution of the Nigeria Governors Forum to allow market forces determine the pump price of petrol. He strongly urges petroleum products marketers not to engage in any activity which could jeopardize the seamless supply and distribution system in place, and advises the public to avoid panic buying because the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has enough stock of petroleum products for the nation. Striving hard to close its deficit, Nigeria is partnering with the World Bank to transform water supply in rural and urban areas of the country. The Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, said this at the 2021 first quarter seminar on progress made in the ministry's mandate since 2015. WASH correspondent Musbaut and Wahab reports.
It's a lunchtime seminar to say thank you to news executives and to launch attention to what the Water Resources Ministry has done since the assumption of a present government.
All the things we're doing are mostly in the bush. They're in remote areas. They're not in the cities. So people don't really get to know what we're doing.
The minister referred to thousands of communities that have gained access to safe water through PWASH, 57 LGIs now free of open defecation, while about 40 of the 116 abandoned projects have been completed. And with a $750 million investment in partnership with the World Bank, Suleiman Adamu says Nigerians should watch out for more transformation in urban and rural water supply. But then, for sustainability and attainment of a sustainable development agenda regarding water supply and sanitation, the water bill still before the National Assembly, he says, again becomes central.
If this bill is not passed, if we don't have this bill, we don't have proper regulation, we don't have the things that we put, including the wash fund, that we're incorporating into the fund, our efforts to get to the sustainable development goals will be in vain.
Sectorial reports by the ministry's departmental heads show details of progresses made in water supply, sanitation, irrigation, dams and hydropower development.
More than 2,500 communities have benefited from the direct intervention by the Federal Ministry of Water Resources.
In 2016, we have one local government that was open education free. Today, we have 57 local government areas that are open education free.
Despite these successes, millions of Nigerians are still yearning for access to water supply, and about 46 million of them still to be stopped from open defecation practice. But the ministry believes with the implementation of a 15-year roadmap, master plan and other programs in the sector, Nigeria is on the right track. In Abuja, Musbal and Wahab, NC News.
The federal government of Nigeria, in collaboration with the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, has commenced the process of validating indicators for monitoring sustainable land management within the Great Green Wall operational areas in Nigeria. Onengie Fineface reports.
The Great Green Wall initiative was established to reverse land degradation and desertification by supporting local communities in the sustainable use of natural resources. With successes being recorded in this regard, the federal government of Nigeria is introducing smart indicators to track and report progress made in implementing the Great Green Wall initiative.
We need to be able to say, yes, this is an indicator that we have done this and this is the impact of this on the people and on the environment. So it is important to have a uniform or unified indicators to be guiding us as we continue with the work of combating drought and acidification in sub-Saharan Africa in this case.
This technical national stakeholders workshop is a forum to discuss, review and validate the National Sustainable Land Management Policy document for the Great Green Wall.
This analysis will contribute to facilitate the identification, selection, prioritization, and validation of appropriate indicators that will help achieve practical and smart monitoring of sustainable land management through the Green Wall program intervention process in Nigeria.
The workshop is expected to harmonize the indicators, taking into consideration peculiarities of the project in Nigeria. Onengie Fineface, NT News.
To legislative matters now, the National Assembly is working out modalities to strengthen operations of the Ministry of Interior and its agencies in line with global best practices. This came to the fore during an oversight by the Senate Committee on Interior to the ministry. Mobolaji Moribiri reports.
Committee took stock of major activities of the ministry and underscored its performances within the period under review, promising to look into its demands for effective service delivery.
On the activities of the ministry, we are quite impressed with the submission.
While as the Federal Fire Service, the committee was informed of some innovations and challenges. The lawmakers were reminded of the bill before the National Assembly, seeking to repeal and reenact the Federal Fire Service Act.
We have 21 of our officers in Belarus Fire Academy undergoing fire investigation course, hazardous material course, breathing apparatus course, and instructors course.
As the Nigeria Immigration Service, the Comptroller General commended the 9th National Assembly for its effective oversight and implementation of the service technology building. In Abuja, Mobolaji Moribiri, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as it continues its hearing on oil mining leases, the House of Representatives Committee on Petroleum Upstream has emphasized that protection of national interest is the overriding issue in the ongoing investigation of revocation and reaward of 4 oil mining leases. The committee, Dayo Ogunshola reports.
The committee is investigating circumstances leading to revocation and restoration of 4 oil mining leases. Management of Adax Petroleum in their presentations says the restoration was to respect rule of law.
In 2009, when this acquisition occurred, there was no requirement for ministerial consent.
Members of the committee observed that the purported transfer of ownership from HADAX to Senopec without a written consent to appropriate authority amounts to violation of the rule of engagement.
If you are a contractor, you are not a licensee. It is not you, in my opinion, that should write to the DPR to protest. Rather, it is the person who contracted you, that's the NNPC. But in this case, if you are the one writing direct to DPR and copying NNPC only, it means you have assumed ownership.
Meanwhile, at the continuation of the stakeholders' interactive session between oil companies and House Committee on Host Communities, more presentations were made. This, the committee says, is critical to the actualization of its mandate.
Our strategy will be anchored on the multi-level stakeholder consultations to advance conciliation and promote harmony amongst all. We therefore come in peace, which stands for partnership.
Further hearing has been adjourned till next week Thursday. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
It's now time to join Kehinde in our Lagos Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Kehinde.
Hello, Najatu, and welcome to Lagos. Biodiversity captures all species and genetic materials, including their variabilities. Our continuous negative action have led to a decline in biodiversity status. Experts say we're already facing the consequences, and it may affect the future generation if we do nothing to reserve it. As the world is set to mark World Biological Diversity Day on May 22nd, Jennifer Igwe is standing nearby to tell us more about the day.
World Biological Diversity Day is a good opportunity to create more awareness on the ecosystem. Experts have said that as we continue to destroy our biodiversity, we create more room for zoonotic diseases, and we're talking about those that are spread from animals to humans, such as coronavirus and others related to it. Meanwhile, we can actually get cure for them by preserving our biodiversity. How?
We need to protect the wildlife. Stop jamming them all together in these wet markets. Stop destroying their habitats. Have far more regard and reverence for the wonderful miracle of God Almighty's gift of creation, which is His biodiversity.
Now, the theme for World Biodiversity Day 2021 is we are a part of the solution. How can we be a part of the solution? Dr. Mukhtar Aminu Kanu of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation will help educate us more on how we can be a part of the solution.
So we shouldn't be cutting down trees and forests. We shouldn't be emptying the forest of and poaching animals. We shouldn't be throwing around waste. We shouldn't be destroying our oceans. We shouldn't be filling our wetlands and making the earth inhabitable for the other forms of life that we share the world with.
Now we've heard from the expert. We are part of the solution, and he has given us vital tips on what we can do so we can save the planet, because we need the planet more than it needs us. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that report. Moving on now, it is no longer business as usual for illegal courier and logistics operators, as the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOST, has commenced its first phase clampdown on illegal operators in Lagos. Diana Ajale, who monitored the exercise, reports that 8 courier and logistics companies were raided in Lagos out of over 300 identified as illegal courier and logistics operators in the state.
We discovered that Crestline is operating courier business without a valid license from federal government, from NIPOST. Based on that, we are here.
The two-day clampdown on illegal courier and logistics operators by the Nigerian Postal Service NIPOST enforcement team, led by the acting general manager, Complaints and Strategy, Courier and Logistics Department, Banks Wori Megbe, affected 8 illegal companies within the Ikeja and Surulere axis of the Lagos metropolis. General Manager, Nigerian Postal Service, Courier and Logistics Regulatory Department, Gideon Shonde, said the clampdown didn't come as a surprise, as warnings have been issued previously to illegal courier and logistics companies on the dangers of their unlawful operations 5 months ago.
The administration of the President Muhammadu Buhari is such that he wants to empower the SMEs, wants to empower the youths, but we should learn to do things with dignity. We should learn to do things with mutual respect for constitutional authority and the Constitution. It's a starting point, and it's a continuous process. It's a going concern. We're not going to stop, we're not going to rest until the industry is well sanitized.
General Manager emphasized that those who are already registered are expected to renew their documents 3 months before the expiry date. He therefore advised the general public to stop patronizing illegal courier and logistics operators and promote standard business operations in Nigeria. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Still watching nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We'll take a short break now. The news continues shortly.
If you're just joining us, this is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Special Jumat prayers commemorating the 65th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy have been performed at the Mogadishu cantonment in Abuja with a call for national unity and support for the armed forces of Nigeria. The Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, in his welcome address, re-emphasized the commitment of the Nigerian Navy towards defending the territorial integrity of the nation, underscored by its performance in the discharge of its constitutional mandate and its contributions to global peace through the United Nations peace support operations. Underlining the place of national unity in keeping the peace, the naval chief said the strength of a yarn lies in being knitted into a rope, just as the nation is strengthened by unity in diversity. Quoting from the Quran, chapter 49, Surah Al-Hujurat, verse 13, which urges tribes and nations to coexist peacefully, Vice Admiral Gambo called on the peace-loving citizens of Nigeria to abide by these principles and support the armed forces of Nigeria in order to secure lasting peace. The Nigeria Immigration Service says adoption of migration information data analysis system technology has enhanced synergy and equipped security agencies to confront irregular migration at the borders. The Comptroller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, represented by the Deputy Comptroller General, Antonio Opara, said this at the Naval Warfare Interagency Seminar and Sea Trip 2021 in Calabar. Justina Itim reports.
It is no longer news that irregular migration could heighten insecurity, human trafficking, as well as economic sabotage. And in proffering solution to this challenge, the Naval War College adopted curbing irregular migration through cooperative maritime security as the theme for the 2021 Naval Warfare Course 5 seminar.
We have given the requisite training to marine border operatives to optimize their performances through our training and retraining program.
The seminar is part of the interagency cooperation module of the Naval Warfare Course curriculum, meant to harness expertise and competencies of maritime-related agencies to combat maritime security challenges and promote socio-economic development.
It has also sown the seeds of enduring friendship among individuals from the various agencies we are represented.
So we're losing people daily through this unwholesome activity. It is because of these and other concerns that this year's seminar is focusing on irregular migration.
During interactive sessions, stakeholders proposed intelligence sharing among security agencies, harmonious standard operative procedures, and more as part of measures to curb irregular migration, especially in the maritime domain.
Certainly, we need to focus more attention on profiling and monitoring of people within the ECOWAS scope, ECOWAS protocol. Joint operations, very important, very critical when I'm doing it with the Nigerian police.
In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
Thank you, Justina. Developing and channeling the intellectual capacity of younger generations in science, research and innovation can only be realized through creation of platforms where young ideas are encouraged, mentored and reproduced. This explains why Skill G Innovation Center and NTA are synergizing to bring out the best in school children through regular quiz competitions where African Community School Asokoro emerged the winner. Charles Alpha reports.
There is no better time to catch them than when they are young. Skill G Innovation Center and NTA understand this better when it comes to building confidence and encouraging young scientists realize their dreams. 12 private schools with 5 representatives each from the FCT are those you see in this hall and about to battle it out in the area of renewable energy, robotics and coding, 3D and scanning, product designs, basic electricity and programming and technology. At the end of the final round, Premier Academy Yobe was eliminated, with African Community School Asokoro emerging first, Lightway Academy second, and Olumao College in third position.
This competition has taught me a lot because it shows that in every competition, not the best do a mile sometimes.
The center has been in the front line of education development for some time now and actively engaged in promoting technology, mathematics, engineering, technical and vocational education at all levels from primary to tertiary.
We want all that we have impacted in them so that they will immediately come back with those ideas they have, and then we will assemble them here and mentor them fully.
By getting them more interested in science and technology, I believe we'll be able to develop in the area of engineering.
Rewards for the winners are expected to be announced later this month. In Abuja, Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Similarly, tertiary institutions must play a leading role in funding and encouraging relevant research development in the academic environment to proffer solutions to real-life challenges, says renowned research professor Charles Onocha at a 2-day research summit being held at the Western Delta University, Delta State. Ismail Musa reports.
From the University of Ibadan, Professor Onocha is in Delta State as a guest lecturer in the Western Delta University, Ogara, to give a new perspective on the topic, writing award-winning research proposal.
Your research focus, research emphasis. University must have a research emphasis. You must have a research culture, what are you emphasizing in the various departments. We expect the Vice Chancellor and the management team to put in place an effective recruitment or selection process for the best.
Vice Chancellor, Western Delta University, Ogara, Professor Cecilia Okobia says the institution's quest to improve on its academic performance through research is key for excellence.
In the university setting, research is it. And I have seen over time, done my efforts to ensure that we engage in research activities.
We help to reawaken the interest of the lecturers in conducting research and in attracting funds.
So these are issues that hitherto were not, taken seriously. But henceforth, we begin to pay attention.
He has been able to tell us, what we need to do as lecturers to be able to stay the skill, in our line of profession.
Most lecturers here will now be able to put what they have learned to bettering our society and to also making sure we are able to bring about better students than we have hitherto produced.
Guests at the lecture maintained that research is what drives the world in the present age. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Into health matters, many women experience difficulties during childbirth, a challenge which sometimes costs lives. Addressing this perennial challenge informed the academic work, Fruit of Pain, with an insider perspective. Abdulmalik Hassan reports.
The cry of a newborn baby takes away the pains during labor, but not every expectant mother is always lucky to share the experience. Mabel Adiniade was, however, on the side of the lucky mothers, but she did not let the experience to go with the passage of time. So it's now in the academic shelves, entitled Fruits of Pain, a manual of some sort for the future mother during childbirth. Mabel almost lost her life in the labor room, but that traumatizing effect has become a strength, she says.
I have lost several pregnancies. I have had life-threatening experiences, came back to life several hours after. And so these are the scenarios presented in this small book. And it gives us opportunity to understand that there are many things that women are not talking about.
When you hear of Fruits of Pain, then one may say joy isn't far from those encountering such issues, and this book tells it all.
It will be of great impact because a lot of women are ignorant, and that's why the girl-child education is very important. Education is very key. An educated mother will know that she has to be very constant for her maternal care.
I think the book will bring about twofold impact. The first impact is that it will create knowledge. It will bring information on the problem, that we face when it comes to maternal health.
Solution in black and white. And Adiniade hopes women take advantage of her intellectual property. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
Thank you, Abdulmalik. And more stories on Nationwide as we join Abubakar in Maiduguri. Hello, Abubakar.
It's really good to see you this Friday evening, Naja'atu, and thank you for joining us in Maiduguri. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, says her ministry remains committed and will continue to collaborate with all critical stakeholders in the global effort towards provision of durable solutions to persons of concern. The minister stated this in a message at a stakeholders mapping for effective coordination of humanitarian interventions by international and local organizations in the Northeast, held in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Memuna Garba completes the story.
The workshop on stakeholders mapping comprised all UN agencies, international and local NGOs operating in Borno State with a view to achieving better coordination mechanism for optimal results in humanitarian interventions by removing multiple barriers that stagnate progress. According to the representative of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, advisor to the President on Humanitarian Affairs, Musa Bungudu, the ministry deemed it necessary to coordinate all humanitarian interventions being carried out in the Northeast region.
So discussion like this will help to avoid, to make sure resources are well planned and well targeted for better and effective responses.
While describing the stakeholders mapping as timely, some participants commended the initiative that will enable them work together for effective service delivery.
All of us as humanitarian partners, we come together and we have a very effective collective efforts to serve the best our persons of concern in Northeast Nigeria.
We as OCHA, Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, are here in support of the government. Here in Maiduguri, you'll have the Borno State and the local government partners who are already coordinating with us.
With this mapping, it is expected that the 8.7 million people in need of urgent assistance in the Northeast region will be adequately catered for. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
Let's talk security now. Borno State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps says it will not relent in its quest to rid the state of crime and criminality despite the lingering security challenges being faced. State Commandant of the NSCDC, Abdullahi Ibrahim, disclosed this while parading 14 suspects engaged in various criminal offenses. Yagum Subukar has more details.
Sunana Abubakar Mohammed. Ni ba soja ba ne.
To me yasa kake sanye da kayan soja?
Wallahi tallahi tsautsayi ne
That was a confession by one of the paraded suspects, agreeing to the crime of which he was apprehended for. All other suspects confessed participating to various crimes, promising not to repeat such mistakes. All the arrested suspects were youths that operate as gangs with dangerous weapons. Borno State Commandant of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Abdullahi Ibrahim, said the officers of the command had, in the course of routine patrols during the curfew hours, apprehended the suspects and investigations are ongoing.
21 full jerrycans of PMI, 25 liters each, were also recovered, as well as one rickety off-the-road highest bus used in lifting and diverting fuel.
Abdullahi Ibrahim then called on the citizenry to be more security conscious and report any suspicious character in their midst. He said the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps would continue to partner other security agencies in ensuring maintenance of law and order in Borno. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
You're on to Nationwide on the largest television network in Africa, the NTA. It's now time to take another break, and Agatha in Benin will be back with more stories thereafter.
Thank you for staying on Nationwide. You are now in the Benin Network Center. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has ordered the reopening of the forest reserves in the state closed to logging activities in March this year due to non-compliance of the dealers with government rules guiding their operations. The governor, who announced the reopening of the forest reserves at a meeting with sawmillers and timber dealers, says adequate measures have been put in place to protect the forest. Elizabeth Omoko now reports.
The reopening of the forest reserves follows various meetings held with the stakeholders in the forestry business in preferring possible solutions to the exploitations of the forest reserves by some contractors and sawmillers, which had led to the suspension of all logging activities by the state government in March 30th, 2021. Governor Obaseki called for synergy and told the key players that he will be needing their input in drafting the new Forestry Commission law.
Since the last time we met, I want to inform you that we have withdrawn all past hammers and seized all the hammers from field staff, and we're putting in more control for the use of these hammers. We have put in place a response team.
The concerned key holders are thankful to the governor.
We are going to work with you. Even those farmers, the people we call farmers, if we have seedlings, they will be compared to plant. Even as their crops are growing, the timber will equally grow.
The key holders promise joining hands with the state government in ending illegality in the timber industry. In Benin, Elizabeth Omoko, NT News.
And in Ondo State, selected farmers have participated in a one-day rural community stakeholders food systems dialogue. Toyin Batire reports that participants brainstormed on strategies for sustaining food security.
The Food Systems Dialogue is aimed at bringing together major stakeholders in the agricultural sector to deliberate on reasonable ways to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals for zero hunger, no poverty and good health by year 2030. Hence, the project chose farmers in Bolorunduro in Akure North of Government Area as its rural community stakeholders to deliberate and ensure they find solutions to the problems of food security in the country.
The idea of the community level is to hear from those involved in the food production, in fact, in the food system at the rural level.
The consolidatory dialogue to come up at a later date in Abuja, where we are going to come together and agree on actionable pathways to ensure sustainable and all-inclusive food system dialogues in Nigeria.
On those states alone, direct beneficiaries are 4,250 youths. It cuts across all the value chains.
Some of the stakeholders are of the opinion that the deliberation will yield positive results. From Bolarunduro in Akure North Local Government area of Ondo State, Toyin Batire, NT News.
That ends it here. Back to Jatu in Abuja for more reports on Nationwide.
You, Agatha. The All Progressives Congress Governors Forum has welcomed the governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, into the Progressives family. In a statement, the chairman of the APC Governors Forum, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu of Kebbi State, says the decision of Governor Ayade to join the APC is a testament of the party's capacity to mobilize all Nigerians, saying the move further reinforces the process of membership and leadership recruitment at all levels, congratulating the party's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari. The statement adds the APC is open, transparent, and will continue to guarantee fair contests in politics in line with the commitment of President Muhammadu Buhari and all its founding leaders. The APC governors reaffirmed that the party belongs to all Nigerians, everyone from every part of the country. Ongoing industrial action by the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria and Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria is to be suspended with immediate effect following the agreement to implement financial autonomy for states' legislature and judiciary with effect from next week. This is contained in a memorandum of action presented by the Minister of Labour and Employment after a series of mediation measures with aggrieved parties and concerned organs of government. Ekene Ntulue reports.
That was to herald the signing of Memorandum of Action on implementation of financial autonomy for state legislature and judiciary. Part of the agreement states that every state shall enact fund management laws for their state judiciary and state legislature to grant each arm the power to manage its capital and recurrent expenditure. For the consenting parties, this is a landmark achievement and a fundamental step in restructuring the country.
The ongoing industrial action shall be suspended with immediate effect from the date of the agreement contained in this memorandum of action, provided that the conditionality indeed is effected immediately and others effected within the 45 days window as earlier prescribed in this memorandum of action.
Implementation of financial autonomy for state legislature and judiciary is expected to commence next week after the monthly disbursements by the Federation Account Allocation Committees for the month of April. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
The need to close the communication gap between children and their parents, as well as other caregivers, again resonated at a stakeholders dialogue on sexuality as a tool for curbing sexual violence against children, convened by non-governmental organization HOSEC Foundation. Kenneth Nanim reports that participants also raised concerns over the increased rate of rape and other forms of moral decadence in the society.
Globally, children are seen as gifts from God. As such, their physical and emotional well-being become a burden shouldered by parents, close relatives, adults, and the society at large. Unfortunately, some children are being sexually violated by these categories of persons who are supposed to shield them from such abuses. Echoes from this dialogue is drawing attention on the need for parents, teachers, as well as other caregivers to have a closer relationship with the children and encourage them to speak out whenever they are sexually molested.
They should consider police as their friend and be free to talk to police when things like this happen. They should not be ashamed.
The short and long-term effects of sexual violence against children, they say, culminate into deviance and moral decay being experienced in the society.
It leads to depression, insecurity, and mental breakdown, even at times suicide. And it affects their concentration in the school, and they don't even want to associate with anyone. So I think the community at large, especially parents and teachers, should open up the communication space with their children.
If you've not started a conversation with them at all, it becomes difficult for them to come and say, "Mommy, uncle touched me." But if you've at any time before spoken to them about it, if uncle or auntie wants to touch them, they can come and tell you that, "Oh, mommy, auntie or uncle wants to touch me." So that's what we believe we're going to be able to achieve with what we have done today.
While the Child Rights Act is being reviewed by some states in the country to reflect the current realities, especially on punitive measures, the dialogue advocated the inclusion of sexuality and sex education into school curricula.
Some of those laws are already archaic. They're not in the reality of time of today. So I will suggest that we give them some time for us to get the real focus on how it can impact when it comes out.
The forum also condemned in strong terms activities of deviants who influence the children negatively on social media. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Port Harcourt Network Centre is next on Nationwide, and Jenny Bassi is our guide. Hello, Jenny.
Najatu, good evening and welcome to Port Harcourt. The Nigerian Customs Service Area 2 Command, ONE, Port Harcourt, has recovered cartons of tramadol valued at over 3.7 billion naira. Controller Customs Area 2 ONE Port, Howell Mohammed, says the drugs were concealed in cartons of ceramic tiles in a container at the port complex. Robinson Darataide reports.
120 milligram tramadol tablets valued at about 3.7 billion naira, packed in 1,387 cartons, were seized on the 18th of May 2021. The illicit drugs were carefully concealed inside 1,000 cartons of ceramic tiles worth over 10 million naira, which were also seized by the customs. The container was picked through intelligence tip-off from the International Security Network and thorough physical examination by the officers.
This unpatriotic citizen or foreigner that imported the container declared the container to us electronically as laden with ceramic tiles. Unknown to him, right from origin through his transits and transition to Nigeria, this container is being monitored. And somewhere along the way, they were able to stop over and conceal 1,387 cartons of tramadol inside the container that was declared to us as ceramic tiles. No container, no package, no parcel will be allowed to exit on a port without 100% examination.
While investigation is still ongoing, the command assured of prosecuting the importer, agent, and other collaborators in a court of law. From One in Rivers State, Robinson Deratede, NTA News.
The Cross River State Government has inaugurated a Peace, Reconciliation and Rehabilitation Committee headed by former Senate leader Victor Ndomaiba to bring peace among 4 communities in Abi local government area ravaged by communal crisis for more than 20 years. Paul Lebel reports that the committee has 30 days to submit its report for implementation by the state government.
Land is one major natural resource that brings dispute between communities if not properly managed. This has been the case between Ebom and Ebijakara, as well as Ediba and Osumuton communities in Abi local government area of Cross River State, leading to loss of lives for several years now. Although there have been previous attempts to broker peace, but with no success, the inauguration of this Peace, Reconciliation and Rehabilitation Committee, with cooperation from the communities, the political will of government, peace is coming to these communities who have lived together for ages in crisis.
I charge you and I command you with a holy anointing from God that you have a great responsibility to to deliver before Almighty God fairness and justice.
We will put our lives, we will put our bodies, we will put our blood on our souls in this assignment.
What is the resolve of the stakeholders to make this initiative work?
Is to give them maximum assistance, ensure that they succeed.
Special feature at the event was the symbolic embrace by leaders and representatives of the 4 communities.
It is hoped that this committee will not end up like the previous ones, as all stakeholders have agreed to ensure peace in the 4 communities in Abi local government area of Cross River State. Paul Abel, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Najatu is back to you in Abuja.
Thank you, Jenny. Yobe State is developing a robust agricultural program in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for implementable frameworks to strengthen food sufficiency and job creation, as well as converting negative environmental factors to productive output from 2021 to 2025. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Addressing major setbacks in supply food chain is one of the issues occupying minds of stakeholders in the economic diversification agenda. Now the eyes of the government of Yobe State is on the ball, and this time around, expertise is being exploited to revitalize agriculture for maximum utilization of potentials.
The document titled Agricultural Revitalization Strategy Document is indeed to assist Yobe State in the implementation of its agricultural policy. At the inception of our administration, we identify agriculture as one of the key areas of speeding up economic development in our state.
Water harvesting structures, soil and crop preservation and husbandry are increasing access for farming population to embrace modern tools to close the gap of open grazing are all factors being considered.
We believe if this technical committee can move further, not only to generate this document, but also push for its implementation, where elaborate monitoring and evaluation mechanism is put in check. And how do you do it? You must develop your KPIs. Your key performance indicators have to come on stream.
Environmental impact assessment and multi-sectoral collaboration are other factors said to be considered for high-quality yields and returns. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in Abia State, Governor Okeze Ikpeazu has called on Nigerians at all levels to always patronize made-in-Nigeria goods towards boosting the nation's dwindling economy. He made the call shortly after enrolling as a trainee at the Footwear Academy in Aba. Government House correspondent Kingsley Ononiwu reports.
Over the years, foreign-made goods are being preferred to the locally made ones by most Nigerians, a situation that is negatively affecting the growth of the local manufacturing industries and companies. Governor Ikpeazu, who enrolled as a trainee at the Footwear Academy Aba to encourage the growth of local manufacturing industries and their products, is of the view that the patronage of made-in-Nigerian goods will not only boost the nation's economy, but will also provide job opportunities to teeming unemployed youths in the country.
If we don't endorse our own products, wear them, take pride in wearing them, then we will just be supporting the economic growth of other nations without looking at our own. We can't really grow without leveraging the strength behind the 200 persons in Nigeria as our population to provide markets, ready market for our products. If 30 million Nigerians buy one pair of shoe every year, and there is a profit margin of $1, that is $30 million to that subsector.
In Umuahia, Kingsley Ononiwu, NTA News.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. And also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
That was leadership by example by the Abia governor. And on that note, we conclude nationwide. Do remember to connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. Thanks for watching. I'm Naja Atutujani. Remember to keep wearing your face masks.